Well, you got me again. I'm flying solo. Matt's still recovering from his knee surgery. I think he'll be with us next week when we're going to have a special show for Martin Luther King Day. In the meantime, like I say, I'm handling duties by myself, and I'm pulling in another business partner here as we speak, Dan Keelan,
Hey,
who is he does many things with me. He's the publisher of the Michigan Marijuana Report. He helped me put together 420 Posts, which is my Wednesday live show that we do on Facebook. Actually, that's doing really well. We're getting thousands of viewers on that one.
hmm
And so, what I wanted to share with my Michigan technology news audience, I know a lot of you out there taking a look at the cannabis market right now. It's a pretty thriving business. We had the director of the Marijuana Regulatory Agency on my other show about a month ago, and he predicts, well, this last year, we did about $750 billion, million dollars, not billion dollars, $750 million.
that's next year.
Yes, next year.
Yeah.
Next year, he thinks it's going to do at least 1.5 billion, and then the following year double again to about three. So, what we try to do with the Michigan Marijuana Report is not really a consumer-focused vehicle, uh, digital publication. It's for business, and so that's what our focus is. And I wanted to bring Dan in because he has all these stats, which I have in front of me as well. And we've been doing it now for a little less than 2 years. In our first year, we were still kind of feeling out the market, and they didn't know
Right,
who we were.
right.
And now it's starting to really take off nicely. Why don't you run through some of those numbers, Dan?
Yeah. Well, let me back up a little bit. So, for those who haven't seen it, um, well, we encourage you to go to MIMarijuanareport.com and to subscribe to the weekly newsletter. When recreational cannabis was legalized late 2018, a couple months later, we launched the Marijuana Report, and the idea, as Mike alluded to, was a business publication, kind of a B2B focused on, so how can you build up a new industry in the state, and how do people that have been maybe even in the underground kind of version of the industry turn it into a thriving business, right? The funny thing is, even though it was launched as business to business, we've done some surveys, and there's a lot of interest across the board. Probably half our readers identify themselves as consumers of CBD or medical marijuana or a recreational, and then the rest are the growing businesses and the people that support them. So we cover the industry in Michigan, the Midwest, nationally, and we focus on these businesses and then all the services around them: accounting, law, security. And Mike's right. I mean, it's grown a lot. I just did a year-over-year comparison of the full year 2019 and the full year, the same period of time, 2020, and a 420% increase in audience. And not only are the numbers going up, but we think the engagement's going up. So people are staying on the site longer. We get more and more inquiries from businesses that want to figure out how to work with us and how to kind of use us as a vehicle to connect them to other businesses in the industry. So it's grown substantially in the first, I guess 18 months.
Yeah. And so we've been trying to always innovate, come up with new things. The last July, we
Yep.
launched 420 Post
Yep.
every other week in the beginning because it was summertime. We were kind of feeling out that market, whether there'd be
Right.
an audience
And
for
we
it.
weren't sure how it was going to fly, for sure.
But I mean, our show, the show with Andrew Brisboe drew 5,000 viewers live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Darren
then,
McCarty.
yeah, we had Darren McCarty. Now, apparently, there's some hockey fans out there in Michigan because that show drew 8,000
Yeah.
viewers. And so we're pretty happy with that. So now we're primed on bringing in really good guests. Um, Certainly, we want to get, there's probably a lot of people that are watching this or will watch this on demand. Certainly, we're always looking for news. So if your cannabis business, whatever it might be, whether you're a grower, provisioning center, ancillary business, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
We're interested in hearing from you. And then for the ones that are really making great news, then we'll get you on 420 posts as well. So yeah, I mean, it's there's 15 states now where adult use marijuana is legal, and then there's like 42 where it's adult use and medical marijuana. So there's only
Right.
very few that aren't.
Right. I mean, so all the states in the most recent national election that had do we want to legalize cannabis? I mean, they all went yes. I think it was 6 states that were added just in the last election. The other nice thing about, or the rich thing about this is it's not one thing. It's not whatever you think of. It's not pot, right? It's medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, it's hemp, it's CBD. It's a very rich area to talk about. And part of the innovation for us came from the audience. So early last year, we started to do surveys of readers to find out what more would you like. And we heard a couple of things, and one of them was more on-demand audio and or on-demand video. And so part of the launching of the 420 Post came from the feedback we got from the audience, that they would like that they would tune into that. So the show creates a nice streaming video component to what we were already doing with the marijuana report, but it's not limited to Michigan. So the marijuana report tries to focus on the growing audience here. The 420 Post has that kind of national potential. So it's as the audience grows, I think the content that we're able to cover grows as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, we want to hear from you folks out there. And if you, again, I know this audience for Michigan Marijuana Report is one thing, but this is the Michigan Technology News audience. And so
Right.
a lot of you may be a little uncomfortable with that, but it is legal. And certainly hemp is legal as well. There's a lot of farmers out there that are taking a real serious look at whether they should grow hemp, and still a bit challenging. It's a brand new crop out there, and everyone's trying to figure out how to do it and make a living. And then the other factor with hemp, very strange factor, is if the THC level is more than 1/3 of 1%, you have to destroy your crop. That's the Drug Enforcement Administration's arbitrary rule.
Right.
So that being said, with the Democrats now taking the Senate, the U.S. Senate, there's a lot of talk about maybe a lot of these things will be changed because the Democrats, at least for the next 2 years, have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency.
Yep.
And so Mitch McConnell was not a big fan of hemp, and certainly isn't a big fan of cannabis. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, it could be an interesting 2 years. I'm sure it will be on so many levels.
Well, yeah, and the politics are one thing. I think though, in terms of the business community, we're still hoping for, because we're a news publication, but we're actually advocating for the industry that we're covering. We want these companies to succeed. It's no different than cheering on entrepreneurs. And so the more, as an example, the more the federal level banking laws change, the better it's going to be for the industry in lots of states. So right now you've got very specific different rules state to state that we have to deal with. But and maybe a new administration coming in will make a difference. But as legislation on a national level makes it easier, that's part of the government's job, right? Make it easier for entrepreneurs to be successful. Some missing legislation right now on a national level. Certainly the banking law is a good starting point. It could make a difference.
Yeah, well, right now, cannabis is a Schedule I drug along with heroin and cocaine and some of the other heavy duty stuff, which most people would agree is outdated. And so the MORE Act was passed by the Congress and by the House in December, but it didn't go anywhere in the Senate. And that would deschedule or reschedule that drug, because right now, because it is a Schedule I drug, you can't work with a major bank. You can't itemize deductions on your businesses. It's very challenging to run a business when you have to eat all your expenses and you can't put them on your taxes. And
Right.
so everyone's hopeful that the MORE Act will be revisited. I'm sure in the first 100 days, Joe Biden has many other things that are more important. But at some point,
Yeah.
maybe in a year or so, when everything settles down a wee bit, we may return to that.
He's going to be a little busy, I'm sure. But, think about it from a non-cannabis point of view. If you were an entrepreneur in some other sector and you had to go to a specialty lawyer and you had to figure out a way to get a debit card or a merchant account, and all of that was hard. You would hope that the industry that you're working so hard to be successful in could kind of go mainstream. And so I think we're heading that way, and hopefully we see more of that in 2021.
Yeah.
Hey, if I can also mention, there's some things that we're working on that aren't public yet that I just kind of want people to watch out for, or contact me if you'd like to get involved. I mentioned the survey that we did. We're turning that into a quarterly industry survey. Would certainly love to have, all this costs money, would certainly love to have some companies that want to sponsor that or help us promote that survey. We're doing more with a kind of topic specific webinars. So at least on a quarterly basis, you're going to see a Michigan Marijuana Report webinar on areas like law or areas like testing. So those are coming. And we're at the beginning stages of two other projects. One is to launch an e-learning initiative that provides people with training, support, and certification opportunities. And so we see that rolling out in the first quarter, as well as a veterans initiative. So that's kind of our newest thing. But think about these businesses in your community giving back to veteran charities. Veteran charities do a lot of good. Veterans have a lot of issues: homelessness, joblessness, suicide, PTSD, lots of things that we think are where we need to put our attention when we think about making our communities healthier. And so we're in the middle of a process where we're going to be able to connect local dispensaries to the charities that are going to make a difference. So more to come.
Yes, to be disclosed when we get all the
Ducks in a row
done. We're very close to getting some deals done. So probably in February, we'll be able to announce that. In fact, I'm meeting with some people tomorrow, along with another partner, to do that very thing.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of good stuff coming up. And Dan, where can folks find out more information about Michigan Marijuana Report?
Well, if you go to MITechNews.com, you'll see the website. You'll see the news there. At the very bottom is a link to our media kit. Media kit has a nice summary of everything we offer, and for paid sponsors, it has an updated pricing sheet. We actually right now are offering all of that at last year's rates, probably through the end of January. And again, just to maybe give. We know a lot of the businesses in Michigan, especially with the pandemic, have had a tough time keeping it together. So if we can promote some of these companies, great. If we can give them a discounted rate to sponsor the publication, we're happy to do that as well. But all of that is on the website, or reach out to me, Dan, at MIMarijuanareport.com.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life. But LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.